again, and welcome to another edition of the North Dakota Softball All-Stars podcast. A great show planned for you today that I am excited about. Who am I? My name's Tim Howe. I'm the president of the North Dakota Softball All-Stars and the studio host of our podcast. Busy one today. We're going to start it here in just a minute with a college update. We talked about NDSU and Valley City State University last weekend in our podcast. Want to make sure we follow up on them because they both continued an incredible run of play. The coaches for the 2019 Shields Softball All-Star Game will be announced in just a few minutes, so stay tuned for that one. Then we're going to look at the top 10 in Class A and Class B. We're still in preseason poll mode for another week. So next week, we'll get, air quotes, week one polls out. I want to look at how the top 10 in Class A and B have done so far this season. We've had a lot of great performances over the course of the last week. We're going to bring on a player, a junior from Velvet Drake Animus named Emma Pesa, who has had a fantastic week that was. We're going to talk to her about that and about the rest of the season. And then we've got an East-West Invitational coming to Castleton. This is going to be a good one. 7 Class B East teams, 4 Class B West teams, and a Class A West team. 9 of the top 10 preseason top 10 teams in Class B will be in this thing. So looking forward to that. But as I mentioned, want to start with college softball and just a quick hit on it. Hats off to NDSU, Darren Mueller, that program that they have. They did lose to South Dakota State University in Game 3 of that opening series at home, but their winning streak got to 20 before they lost. 20 straight wins. And then how did they bounce back after a loss? Oh, they just headed down to the University of South Dakota, picked up a 3-game sweep, and didn't allow a single run. Yeah, favorites in the Summit, no doubt. Valley City State University, we talked about them in the incredible season that they've had, and it just continues on. The Vikings are 38-3 on the season as we're getting ready for postseason play that they are hosting. Valley City State, just an incredibly impressive season as well. And there's a lot of other good ones out there. Jamestown's had a good season. Mayville State has put up some good scores recently. A lot of good softball being played around here. But North Dakota State University and Valley City State University, kind of the cream of the crop right now for college softball in our area. So now that we've talked a little college ball, it's time to jump back into the high school game. And something that I'm excited about, undoubtedly, is the 2019 Shields Softball All-Star Series, June 3 at Mickelson Park in Fargo, and June 4 at the Starion Bank Turf Field Shields Sports Complex in Bismarck. And I'm going to tell you right now who the coaches are. Starting in the East, Class B's Matt Chandler, head coach at Thompson. It was their best season yet this past year. Excited to have Matt on board to coach the 2019 Shields Softball All-Star Game. Alongside West Fargo Cheyenne head coach Mark Woodbury. He's the guy that was called upon to start up the program. And of course, Cheyenne to a third-place state tournament finish last year, their best in school history so far. So Matt Chandler of Thompson, Mark Woodbury of Cheyenne, the head coaches for the East, co-head coaches for the 2019 Shields Softball All-Star Series. You go out west, let's start with a team who's just in their second year of Class B softball, had a great season last year, off to a good start again this year. Alec Groth of Minot Bishop Ryan, he will be one of the co-head coaches for Team West, alongside Kevin Ziegler from Bismarck Century, and I remember a meeting 3 years ago. Kevin was part of it as we talked about needing to get a softball game off the ground, and now he'll be one of the coaches. So there they are, Matt Chandler, Mark Woodbury, Alec Groth, and Kevin Ziegler, your 2019 Shields Softball All-Star coaches. Congratulations to all four. Looking forward to them giving back to the game a little bit in early June. Now, as we roll into the top 10 of Class A and Class B, I think we're going to talk about all 4 teams that we just mentioned right there. But let's start in Class A. We're going to look at the top 10 records and current streaks because there's some out there that are pretty impressive. Dickinson, they're number 1 in the state in the preseason polls, 8-5 so far on the season. But the impressive thing is they were 3-5. They've won 5 in a row, all 5 via shutout. That's pretty darn good. West Fargo, weather-stricken east side of the state, hasn't played as many games, but the Packers, 2-0, off to a good start there. Minot, your defending state champions, they're 8-3 and riding the state's longest winning streak at 7 in a row. Valley City, the number 4 team in Class A, they're sitting at 500, 3-3. They picked off Devils Lake the other day, and their streak is at 1 consecutive win. Bismarck High, the number 5 team in the state of North Dakota Class A, 8-2 so far. They were 2-2, so a 6-2 or a 6-0 run here, 6 in a row for Bismarck High. Bismarck Century right behind them at number 6. They're sitting at 6-2 in the season. Lost their most recent game. Fargo North, just 1-2 here in the early goings. Again, when you go to the east side of the state, just not as many games that have been able to be played. North lost their most recent outing 11-8 to Moorhead. Cheyenne is 1-0 on the season and ranked number 8. They defeated Devils Lake 9-0. We're going to talk about that game a little bit more in the tidbit section of this here podcast. Grand Forks Red River in at number 9. They went out west and played Minot and Dickinson, but they're 0-3 on the season here. Jamestown checked in at number 10 in the Class A preseason poll, 6-4 on the season, and 3-5. Check that, and 3 in a row in the last column, as Jamestown was 6-1 in the early going. So there's a look at the Class A top 10 from the preseason poll, and again, we'll have a new poll out a week from when this podcast aired. So it'll be Monday, the 29th of April, will be your air quotes week 1 polls. Now let's take a gander at Class B, where there just simply aren't as many games on the docket, but darn it, let's look at them anyways. Central Cass, they're 2-1 on the season. They beat Enderlin Maple Valley in their most recent outing. We'll get to that in just a second. They were picked off by the Hankinson Co-op 6-3 in Castleton last week. The Thompson Tommies 1-0. Des Lacs, Burlington, Lewis, and Clark, they're 3-1, coming off a 1-0 loss to Bishop Ryan in the opener. They've won 3 in a row. Kindred Richland checks in at number 4 in the preseason poll. They're 0-2 so far on the season. 2 one-run losses. 1 to Central Cass and 1 to Hillsboro Central Valley. Bishop Ryan, they're 4-1. They lost their opener as well and have reeled off 4 in a row. Heart River, we're going to talk about them again in just a little bit here too. They're 5-0 on the season, ranked number 6 to start things off. Number 7, Hillsboro Central Valley, 1-0. We mentioned the one-run win over rival Kindred Richland. Grafton, Mayport CG area, they checked in at number 9 in the preseason poll. They're 3-0, led by first-year head coach Tim Spurgeon. And Velvet Drake Animus, we're going to talk to one of their players, Emma Pesa, coming up in just a little bit here. They dropped their first game of the season and have reeled off 5 in a row. They're 5-1 with a huge week ahead. So there's a look at the top 10 in Class B and how they've fared thus far. We're going to talk a lot more about Class B a little bit later in the program. All right, now let's get into the part of the program that I like to call tidbits. These are awesome things that players across the state of North Dakota have done, like 3 homer games, tons of strikeouts in a game, a cycle, a no-hitter, a perfect game. All those sorts of things get wrapped into what we call tidbits. And let's start with Fargo Shanley Sr., committed to St. Cloud State University, Gabby Nelson. Gabby hit 3 home runs in a 10-6 win earlier this week against Valley City.
Thompson's 1-1 pitch. This one a big swing in the air. That will clear the fence. 3-1 home run. Nelson clears the bases. Shanley leads 3-0. Thompson just trying to get that one in the strike zone. Surrenders the 3-run shot. And just like that, Shanley takes the lead. A no-doubter. That one clearing the wall in right field. Haley Schaefer gave a trot towards the fence. Not much she can do after that, as there's now a meeting in the pitcher's circle for the Highlanders. So a double, a walk, and a 3-run home run for Shanley. They take the lead here against the Valley City Highlanders. Thompson's pitch is coming. Big swing, and this one's uncorked. Second home run of the game for Gabby Nelson. This one a 2-run shot, and Shanley will go back on top 7-5. That was a no-doubter off the bat of Nelson. She has collected 5 RBIs on 2 swings of the bat, 7-5 Shanley.
Audio there, courtesy of Joel Morgan, I3G Media in Valley City. Gabby went on to hit one more, a 3-homer day for Gabby Nelson. Staying in Class A and staying in the EDC, MSUM Dragon-to-be Kylie Washneski. Well, she had a good day up in Devils Lake in the season opener for Cheyenne. She tossed a no-hitter in the Mustangs' 9-0 win over Devils Lake. Speaking of no-hitters, we had a couple more. Jasmine Solis of West Hope Newburgh Bottineau. She tossed a no-hitter in a 25-3 win over Glenburn. Caitlin Houle of Central Cass, and we'll talk about that program a little bit more later on in this podcast. She tossed a no-hitter in a 10-zip win over Enderlin Maple Valley. Got one more no-hitter, but we're going to take a roundabout way to get there and take a stop here with Des Lacs, Burlington, Lewis, and Clark phenom pitcher Erica Hermanson. She struck out 18 in an 11-1 win over Kenmare Bowbells MLS. A fantastic outing again for Erica Hermanson. And then we're going to have her on the podcast here in just a couple of minutes from Velva Drake Animus, Emma Pesa. Well, she went bananas this week. First of all, she had a 3-home run game. She was a solo bomb shy of the home run cycle. She hit a 2-run home run, a 3-run home run, and a grand slam in an 18-3 win over West Hope Newburgh Bottineau on Tuesday. And then here she is again, Miss Emma Pesa. Velva Drake Animus tossed a no-hitter on Thursday. So just 2 days after the 3-homer game against West Hope Newburgh Bottineau, she comes back and throws a no-hitter in a 10-0 win over Wilton Wing. And I honestly can't think of any time better than now to bring Emma onto the program. Here's the problem. We had a software malfunction and lost most of the interview, so I'm going to do my best to recap my conversation with Emma and talk about what we talked about. Sorry, certainly wanted to get that out there, but just had some needs in getting this podcast out at a certain time on Monday and just didn't have time to go back and re-record the interview. Hopefully we can have Emma on in the future, but she was an incredibly humble kid. Her 3-home run game against West Hope Newburgh Bottineau, she simply said she was just trying to hit the ball hard. She was trying to do good things for her team, and she certainly did in an 18-3 victory for Velva Drake Animus. We talked about the no-hitter against Wilton Wing, and she just said it felt good. It was a nice team effort, and they'd been working really hard, all the pitchers had, on improving this season, and to get rewarded for it was absolutely fantastic. Emma and I talked about being ranked in the top 10 for the first time. Velva Drake Animus in the top 10 and 5-1 so far in the season, and she gave the company line, and I loved it. It doesn't really matter. Nobody really cares what you're ranked. It's about doing it on the field, and so far they have. But my goodness, a big week coming up for Velva Drake Animus. They've got Heart River on Monday, their only loss of the year, a chance to avenge that. Both Central McLean and Harvey Wells County listed as games on Tuesday. Beulah on Thursday, and then they'll come east for the Squirrel Softball East-West Invitational to take on Northern Cass, Thompson, and Central Cass. We'll get to that in just a minute. I talked to Emma Pesa from Velva Drake Animus, and unfortunately we had some technical difficulties with our software, lost most of that interview, but sort of narrating it for you now. We went through some of Emma's favorites, and I think I wrote all these down correctly, so Emma, if we missed one, let us know. But favorite school class in schools, pre-calc, yikes. Favorite food, frozen pizza. And then we dove into favorite cereal. Her favorite cereal is Captain Crunch. Her favorite candy, perfect time of year to talk about it, is Reese's. She likes green as her favorite color. Favorite number, 34. Her favorite kind of music is country. Didn't have a favorite artist or singer, just loves the country music. Favorite holiday is Christmas. A good answer there, although a little more snow on the ground that time of year. Favorite sport other than softball is basketball. Of course, she's a good basketball player as well for Velva. And her favorite softball memory is a really good one. Getting to play in the state tournament last year with her younger sister. A sibling state tournament experience for Emma Pesa and Velva Drake Animus last season. Again, unfortunately, some technical difficulties. We lost most of that interview with Emma, but we went on to talk about the East-West Invitational as Velva Drake Animus gets to take on Northern Cass Friday in Castleton. And that game will be played at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the softball field. We're going to talk much more about this tournament in just a couple of minutes. Then they take on number 3, Thompson, at 11 a.m. over on the football field on Saturday. And the plan right now is for the ND Sports Channel to stream that one live. You can find them, ndsportschannel.com, and watch the game right here on their YouTube channel. And then Velva Drake Animus wraps things up 7 o'clock on Saturday, back on the Central Cass softball field, taking on number 1, Central Cass. She said that the team and herself specifically just excited to get out here and play some really good competition and see where the areas of improvement still need to be, because their goal is to get back to the state tournament. Undoubtedly, they want to get back there. She talked about that a little bit and said playing this kind of competition will help them prepare to hopefully make a run to get to NDSU in late May/early June. Emma and I also talked a little bit about being able to play with her sibling. What a special opportunity that is to play high school sports with a younger sister, and hoping to make another state tournament run there and experience it once again in that fashion. And then we talked a little bit about her head coach, Fred. Nothing but great things to say. He's passionate. He knows the game extremely well. And his goal matches the kids. They want to get back to the state tournament and give it another run. So unfortunately, I lost that interview due to some technical difficulty. It's been bound to happen someday, and I knew I'd feel bad whenever it did. Unfortunately, this is the time. But Emma Pesa from Velvet Drake Animus, she was incredibly well-spoken. She was confident. Sounded like a wonderful young lady that hopefully you can see this coming weekend in the Squirrel Softball East-West Invitational. So with that, if you see Emma, say hi, say good luck, and say we're sorry that the podcast ended up going down this way, but it was great to get to talk to Emma and just relay some of her thoughts here on the podcast. Want to kind of wrap up today's podcast by talking about this East-West Invitational Tournament that's being hosted by Central Cass this coming weekend. A lot of great stuff going on the 26th and 27th with games both on the turf softball field there, which is magnificent, and the turf football field as well. If you're planning on going, you have a dog in the race or you don't. Adults are $6 on Friday and students are $4. On Saturday, it's $7 for adults and $5 for students. Now, there's 7 Class B East teams, 4 Class B West teams, and 1 Class A West team. And an incredible stat pointed out by Central Cass's Twitter account, 9 of the top 10 preseason teams in Class B are playing in this event. And I just want to go through the schedule. This is going to be fun, okay? So Friday starting at 2, on the softball field, it's number 1 Central Cass versus number 2 Des Lacs, Burlington, Lewis and Clark. Erica Hermanson against that lineup from Central Cass. That's going to be a good one. Number 3 Thompson plays number 5 Bishop Ryan on the football field at 2 o'clock. 4 o'clock games are softball field, Velva, Drake Animus, Emma Pace's team. They're taking on Northern Cass. That's number 10 Velva and not ranked Northern Cass. And not ranked Class A Watford City against Kindred Richland, who's ranked number 4 in Class B. Those are the 4 o'clock games Friday. 6 o'clock games on Friday include Heart River, who's ranked number 6, versus Hillsborough Central Valley, who's ranked number 7. Mayport CG area, this game will be on the football field, ranked number 8, taking on Hankinson, not ranked in the preseason poll, but they've picked off Fargo North and Central Cass so far this year. So you think Friday's a fun day of ball, and it is, but how about this? I'm just going to go through the ND Sports Channel lineup first for Saturday. They will start at 9 o'clock with Hankinson taking on Watford City. The 11 o'clock game will be Thompson and Velvet Drake Animus. You can watch Emma Pesa and the Velvet Drake Animus Club play on the ND Sports Channel at 11. At 1, it's Northern Cass and Heart River. Good matchup there. Hillsborough Central Valley takes on Watford City at 3 o'clock on the ND Sports Channel on Saturday. At 5 o'clock, it's Kindred Richland versus Heart River, again on the ND Sports Channel, and they wrap up their coverage at 7 o'clock with Hillsborough Central Valley and Des Lacs, Burlington, Lewis, and Clark. So how about all the other games at those time slots? Because, yeah, we're not done. 9 a.m., Northern Cass takes on Mayport CG. Central Cass takes on Bishop Ryan at 11. At 1 o'clock, Kindred Richland versus Des Lacs, Burlington, Lewis, and Clark. You got Central Cass taking on Thompson in a 1-3 matchup at 3 o'clock. 5 o'clock, it's Mayport CG and Bishop Ryan. And at 7 o'clock, it's Central Cass taking on Velvet Drake Animus. Now, if you didn't gather all that in, because that's a lot of information, we've got it over on our Facebook page and our Twitter account. You can search at NDSB All-Stars and find us there. You know what? We'll also get this on our website, too, when we can here, ndsballstars.com. This is going to be a crazy week, not just with this awesome East-West Invitational that Central Cass is hosting, but just so many games on the schedule, and for the most part, a pretty good-looking week weather-wise, at least and especially considering what we've had so far this spring. So get on out there, watch some ball, include us in your tweets, tell us what's going on at NDSB All-Stars. that's it for another round of the podcast. Want to thank again Emma Pesa for taking the time out to chat. Unfortunate issues with our software. We lost most of the interview, but it was fun to just narrate that back. Congratulations again to the 4 coaches that will coach the 2019 Shield Softball All-Star Game, or Shield Softball All-Star Series, as it were. Matt Chandler from Thompson and Mark Woodbury from Cheyenne in the East, and Kevin Ziegler from Bismarck Century and Alec Groth from Bishop Ryan in the West. And congrats, great games, Gabby Nelson, Kylie Washneski, Jasmine Solis, Caitlin Houle, Erica Hermanson, and Emma Pesa. We'll do it again next week, and there's going to be a lot of games to talk about. My name is Tim. This has been another episode of the North Dakota Softball All-Stars podcast. Thank you so much for listening.